Joining me live is REA Group Economist and Flaherty and WA. They're back in the headlines.
They certainly are. We're continuing to see incredibly strong price growth in WA, and not just home prices, but rents have actually skyrocketed in the state more rapidly than anywhere else in Australia as well.
Queensland too?
Yes, Queensland's not far behind. What we saw over the June quarter was that 99% of Queensland suburbs actually saw home prices rise. These are really two very strongly performing states, and we've seen a similar result in South Australia. Really, the only exceptions we're seeing are Victoria and Tasmania and the ACT, where home prices are really been sitting in the doldrums.
In terms of our population, we've had huge growth over the last couple of years, haven't we?
Extraordinary growth, and this is really one of the key factors that's been driving not just home prices, but particularly rents, because of course when people first come to a country, they're much more likely to be renters. What we've also seen is that the number of new homes we're building has far fallen short. So I crunched the numbers yesterday, and it looks like in 2023, we probably fell short about 90,000 homes that we needed to build. And WA actually has seen the largest shortfall in new homes to accommodate population growth of any state. So it's not really a surprise that we're seeing the strongest price growth over there.
1 million people in 2 years. And obviously that has got a bit to do with coming out of COVID, I would think.
Yeah, look, of course, I think that there was this mindset of playing catch up with immigration. But of course, the issue was that, we've seen a real slowdown in the speed at which we're building new homes. Construction costs are still incredibly high. And what we're getting is this cumulative build-up of a shortfall in the number of new homes. So even though, you could classify what we're seeing right now as a housing crisis, expectations are that this shortage is going to get worse and worse. So unless something dramatically changes, I think that we're going to see households do it even tougher than they are now, particularly those that are already paying a mortgage or perhaps are looking to get that first step on the property ladder. Those people who are trapped in the rental market, it's going to get more and more difficult for a lot of people, particularly in places like WA, where we're not building enough homes to get that first leg up.
There's been a huge move north on the East Coast, Brisbane, Gold Coast. A really interesting thing to watch has been where Brisbane now is placed in contrast to Melbourne, because it was always Sydney, Melbourne, Melbourne, Sydney. But Brisbane is a real player now.
Oh, absolutely. And the median price of a home in Brisbane is now higher than it is in Melbourne. And actually, one thing that Victoria has done better than the other states is that it has built more homes relative to its population growth. So I think that if we're looking at the places where we're seeing the biggest shortfall in development, WA number one and Queensland's number two, followed by New South Wales. So even though, Melbourne has the most diverse economy, even though Melbourne's seeing the strongest population growth, it really comes down to how many homes we deliver to accommodate that growth.
Been a lot of talk that there'll be an interest rate rise in August, but that isn't a lay down misere, is it? You're an economist. We need to see more crunched figures, and they will come soon. The inflation figure we saw last week was on the back of what would you call a fairly, not flimsy, but not a lot of detail.
Well, it is a monthly indicator of inflation. So the question is, of course, once we get the official inflation data, it's always, until we see that specific figure, we won't have as clear a picture of what the Reserve Bank is likely to do. However, if that indicator is accurate and we're starting to see inflation pick up again, of course, no doubt that increases the risk that we could see another rate rise.
Thanks for that. Appreciate it, Anne.